Hey everyone, Friday morning, let's do another vlog. I have Monday off, so I have a really long weekend ahead of me and I'm starting a new book today. So why not start the vlog early? I currently have 3 big books on my TBR and I have no idea what they are about. So I decided to pick the Betrayals because I really enjoyed the binding and I loved the writing in that one. So I'm really hoping for this to be a really captivating read and surprising read with interesting story or characters or whatever, something that I can't put down and dive into. That's what I'm hoping to get from the book. I'll keep you updated on the way. I think I'm getting sick. Saturday morning and I skipped running because I'm feeling super exhausted. It started yesterday afternoon. I don't know why. I'm completely tired. My body's knackered. I'm taking sort of a rest day. Maybe I'll do a bike tour later. But first, I wanted to tell you about the Betrayals. I managed to read the first 2 chapters and we met the first 2 characters. Each chapter was told from the perspective or with the focus on one character so far. And I find it very interesting to find out what's happening and what's going on. So far, I have not clearly understood everything. There's still a lot of mystery of what's going on, what's going to happen. The first chapter is about Red, and she is this woman, girl living in the unseen spaces of this school boarding house castle. You see, I have no idea what it is. Could also be a monastery or something. It's pretty confusing still. What has become clear is that it's definitely about some kind of game, the Grand Jeu or something. Not exactly sure yet. It kept getting mentioned as a game and as something or a thing that is prevalent in this world society, whatever. But we haven't heard any more details yet. The introduction to Red has been very short or brief, and we only know that she's hiding and doesn't really fit in as being a human. Sort of. The second chapter, we meet Leo, and this is a little bit more informative. First of all, about him. He's in his early 30s. He used to be the Minister of Culture, but then he opposed the Prime Minister or wasn't supportive, so he was forced to resign and sent to this mountain school building thing where he went to school, and it sounds like a boarding school. It's probably the same place where Red lives, and it's up on a hill somewhere. And we have some flashbacks of the scene with the prime minister, of his life unraveling, some flashbacks already of him attending that school the first time, and he also mentions the game, the Grand Jeu, and that he used to be a master in it. But still, I don't know more about the game. I have a better idea about the world now because it seems very dictatorial, or the prime minister definitely is the one in charge. He seems to be scary, but I don't know what effect that has on the characters and the story, and if it's a boarding school story or a story about a game. I like finding that out. That's what I like about going into books blind. You can really make up things and go down wrong tracks and discover what's going on. Well, that didn't go according to plan. As I had this feeling I was getting sick and a scratching in my throat, I thought, why not get an official test? And I turned out positive. So right now I'm waiting for my PCR test to come back, which will be Sunday afternoon. And until further notice, I'm in quarantine. I read the next chapter in the Betrayals, and I had real issues focusing. I kept rereading the sentences, my mind kept drifting because I had other things on my mind. But we were introduced to the next character, Magister Ludai, or however you pronounce any of those words, who's a scholar or teacher at the school Leo is heading at and the Red lives. So I think those 3 are our main characters, and the perspectives we get, I don't really know. I'm not really sure about the school yet, and the character of the Magister, she seems to know or have a past with Leo, but I'm not completely sure what kind of past that is. If she just admired him as a politician or if they had actually met at some point. Apparently, she's also the only female magister at that school, so that's an exception and something that's not common. The school is also worried about politics coming too much into the organizational part. That's why they didn't refuse the chancellor's request of taking up the ex-minister to keep him busy or whatever, because the chancellor didn't want him to be a minister anymore. There's a lot of intrigue going on and a lot of riddles, and nothing is helped by me not being able to focus. Sunday afternoon, let's have a little check-in. I read about 100 pages or 9 chapters by now of the Betrayals, and I'm having a lot of fun. There's a lot of guessing going on. I like to imagine where things are going or have ideas of where the storyline is going. I have been wrong so far, but I don't mind that. It's part of the fun that you can think about where things are going. And we're mostly alternating between Leo and the Magister right now. We haven't seen the Red again. We've heard of her in a sideways note, but we haven't seen a chapter from her perspective. Currently, we have learned a lot about Leo's past and his character. He's very arrogant and he's been a little bit of an asshole at school. There's also been chapters of his diary back from school, and a lot of the things come together. I also have figured out a little bit more about the Grand Jeu, or the game they're playing, which is not really a game, but it seems like they talk of it as a national game, but it's also treated like a religion. It's a combination of various sciences and philosophies and ideas, so music, math, and whatever. I'm not completely sure on what's actually the game, but it is treated like a religion and something that is very important to the society or the country. We also learned more about the school, that it tries to be separate from politics and from the government, but that with the government being more and more, I think autocratic is the word, taking control and limiting everything. We found out that Christians need to be marked or need to wear a cross to make visible that they're Christians. They want to exclude them from the schools. So Christians in this book are not the dominant religion and the standard, but they're the outsiders. It's interesting to see where that is going. The school is also all male, and we have the Marcusser who's female, and apparently that is an exception, but I have no idea where the lines go there, if there are other schools where girls can go to, and this is just a highly accomplished and elite school for boys, but that might come later. It's very interesting to see how all of this comes together. And I'm just, fourth into the book? Highly enjoying myself. I read a few chapters more and I had some thoughts about the characters. The Magister and Leo both are not very likable, or at least I don't know if we're supposed to like them or dislike them, what we're supposed to think of them. I think Leo is very arrogant, but he's also very hurt is the wrong word, but he's hiding a lot. He's presenting a personality and a person outside, and through his diary, he doesn't seem nice, but there is more to it, and I kind of like him, even though he doesn't feel like a likable character. He feels arrogant, like I said, and also a little bit spoiled and hurt in the way how he was treated, but not in what he has done. And the Magister, I am confused about her. I understand that she has a difficult position and that she had to fight her way to be where she is. But at the same time, I don't understand her character or her moods. I don't know what it is, but her behavior towards Leo is strange, especially since she has read his diary and knows about his inner thoughts, where he's questioning some of his arrogant behavior to the outside. I mean, I haven't read all of the diary yet, so maybe there is a bad conclusion to the end, but mostly or overall, I think I don't like her, even though I thought at first that she would be the more likable character due to her position and her place in the story. But I think I'm pro Leo more than the Magister in her behavior. Not sure where that is going. Thursday morning, let's have a quick update. As you can tell, I'm getting sicker. I don't enjoy this at all. I'm still pretty mild on the symptoms. Reading isn't going well either. I have read, I don't know how many more pages. I'm about 200 pages to the end, 24 chapters in, halfway through, past the point. And I'm not enjoying it anymore. I don't know if it's because I'm sick or it's because I'm bored. I mostly enjoy the chapters with the diary, but the chapters in the present have gotten more political. It all looks like it's leaning towards Nazi Germany, but it's not really Nazi Germany because Christians are the persecuted ones. Anyways, it's still sidelined. There's a lot of talk or the position of women and how men see women, all seen through Magister Ludai's eyes. But it doesn't really make sense. The character of the Magister really doesn't make sense to me because she interprets and sees things that, from my point of view, with her knowledge, she shouldn't be seeing like that or interpreting like that. So I don't know what's going on. I'm also bored by the conversations or the relationship between Leo and the Magister that's developing. It's kind of slow burn action plot development, and it's not even character development. So not a lot is happening, and it started off more exciting and it's starting to get boring. I don't know. You see, my brain isn't working well. Saturday morning again, and I finally finished the Betrayals. So let's talk about it. About halfway through the book, I lost interest in the characters, in the plot, if there was any, and everything that was going on. At the end, I think it felt like the book wanted too much. There were so many things that were thrown in, like the politics resembling Nazi Germany, the role of women in this society, or rather the limitations they have, especially when it comes to this religious game or this game in general that everyone was playing and the school that the book is centered at. The general idea of being seen, not being seen, I don't really know what it wanted to be with that, but it's clearly this character, the rat, that doesn't really connect to the story that much. There is a connection, but it's not necessary. And that's my trouble with most of the book. Most of the story or the background information isn't necessary. This book could be centered anywhere. Those two characters, as long as you have a school where someone can go and there's a competition going on, that would work. A lot of the conflict or misunderstanding that resolved by the end, or that we found out what the mystery was, or whatever you want to call it, let's call it conflict still, is due to the female characters' annoying habits. A lot of it burned down to that I ended being frustrated with the Magister the whole time, and her opinions and thoughts about Leo and how he interpreted his actions, never taking into account her own position and role played in those actions and behaviors. We see a lot of from his perspective, like the past with his diary and then his chapters. And when we see the Magister's perspective, we see her thoughts, her interpretations, and always her anger and frustration. But when it comes to the solution at the end, a lot of that is her own fault. A lot of that is due to her not being honest and hiding. And she still blames everyone else. And that frustrated me. It didn't really come to an ending where you thought everything is going to be well. It seemed like I'm just going to end it here and leave it going like this. There are all the mysteries resolved. Nothing changed about the politics, which is why it's not necessary. It's just too much background information. It's too much content for the amount of impact it has on the story. Overall, I still enjoy Bridget Collins' writing, the way she characters people, the way she builds a world that you really dive into and you feel comfortable with, and the characters and the struggles they have or how she presents it. This is well done, but it seems like this is an overload of things that she wanted to pack into one book where a lot of it is not actually necessary. And that's my final thoughts. I don't want to recommend the book. Read the binding instead, which is better. And I know it's hard not to compare the books authors write, but I had high expectations for this because I loved the binding so much. Even though the beginning of the binding was slow and tedious, it picked up speed. Where with this novel, it was interesting and fascinating in the beginning, and it lost its momentum halfway through, and then it was a drag. Anyways, let me know in comments if you have read the Betrayals or not, if you have read the bindings, what your thoughts are, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.